Starting in the name of Allah, the most merciful, mighty and gracious to all. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and welcome to the class of organizational behavior. Dear students, today we are going to discuss the next discussion, and that is about the foundation of group behavior. Here in this lecture we are totally discuss about the group behavior. It simply means here we will discuss clear about the group. We will discuss the different types of groups. Here we also will discuss the behavior of an individual within a group, because individual clear he has a behavior, and when an individual is clear become a member of a group, so then his behavior is totally changed. So what are the different group foundations or the basis, inshallah we will discuss here. Now first of all I would like to explain that what is group. Group ko toru ta malum hai that two or more individuals interacting and interdependent who have come together to achieve particular objectives. It means when for a common objectives or for common achievement of goals, people combine together, work together, they have a mutual interaction and they are acting interdependent. Interdependent mean چې دوه کسان یا group کې members بغیر یو بل نه کار نشي کولای. It means that they are independent or they are interdependent. So when people they are interdependent and they have an interaction with one another for the achievement of some specific task or goals or some particular objectives, so such is known as your group. Norm Sadal Fasye, when people work together, combine together for the achievement of some goal and their interaction is interdependent, so it means that is known as group. This is simply group. Up there are different types of groups. One we have the formal group, one we have the informal group. Up what is formal group? Formal group simply means a designated work group defined by the organization's structure. Simple norm sadal faske, that group which is totally designated by the management, or the group which structure is totally defined by the management. Aha group chakam the management ta tarafana explaining, where the hierarchy is explained, where the structure is explained, that is simply known as your formal group. Like suppose take the example of HR unit. अब HR unit के सासो यो HR head दे, बे आगे assistant दे, सही हुआ, and then we have the clerk, and then we have for example officer, and then we have a clerk. अब पूरा that is a proper clear structure, is it? So this group clear, the HR unit group, it is explained by the management. So such group is normally known as formal group. Simply we can say a group which is designed or which is formulated or which is basically designated from the management side is known as your formal group. Bya musara balde informal group. Up definition why a group that is neither formally structured now organizationally determined appears in response to the need for social interaction. Up gura informal group simply da way that group where the people come together clear due to such fulfillment of social contract, or a group which is not formally designed by the organization, which is not clear delineated clear by the organization. Aga group chikam organization the tarafana define nade, is it? Such group is known as your informal group. Like for example, when people interact with one another just because of the social needs, or just because of, let's suppose, the psychological needs, just because of the effectiveness, or let's suppose friendship dilasa, is it? So such is known as your informal groups. Like suppose formal example take the example of BBA department. अब BBA department के टोलो ना पहले डीन दे, सही हुआ, अब्दुल्ला साहब दे, ब्या HOD दे, सही हुआ, अयाज साहब दे, और ब्या वो सारा टीचर थी. अब this that is the group of the teacher of BBA. अब it is properly defined that who is on the top, who is in the middle, सही हुआ, ब्या लांदे सोख दे. अब it is properly defined by the management. So that is a group of the teacher and it is known as your formal group. उसको informal group दे. Informal मतलब दा दे कि organization ना तरफना management ना तरफना define शवे ना दे. Like for example زي وياما چې ګوره عبدالله صاحب صحیح او یو بل کس صحیح چې عبدالله انډر کار کوي da dwara gym partneran di. Ab gym partneran this relationship is not explained by the management. So da chikam grouping shaway de Abdullah Sahib or ball teacher the gym partneran di ya snooker partneran di, for example, they are known as your informal group. Hope inshallah idea bata so clear shawi hammi. Now next we have the command group. What is command? By the name it is clear, command group, order group. That's your group che aga your boss la reporting ki. Is it? Simply a group which composed of the individuals who reported directly to a given manager. Like suppose masara command de. Is it? Or they command ke for example masara three further individuals see. Ab whatever departmental che come hum for example report muntarazi, we put forward this report to the higher level authorities. Ab da che come masara for example order ki che come masara kasandi group ki kasandi, we report to the manager. Such group is known as the command group, which directly report to a given manager. Then we have task group. It is very common, task group. You specified task complete kamano dibara kala organization your group jod ki, that group is known as task group. If you focus on the definition, you will find out that those group are working together to complete a job or task. Suppose organization way che mung cha kawal khwadu mung organization de para for example you nave project start ko. Project sa pabara ke de project de such for manual system na we want to transform all the manual system into electronic system. Look at manual system de para avalbo organization se kai avalbo organization for example like a financial issues I'm talking about. Such finance chekam department de organization manual na electronic ta adaval wadi. Organization want to transform the finance department from manual system into the electronic system. Up first they have to bring clear the people from the finance department, from the business department, that where the people clear know the terms of the businesses. No awal bada business kasan barawali che sok pa finance mani puigi or bia bada IT kasan barawali that dwara organization sokra that dwara organization chikam de your group jod ki. Ab this group has a specific task to complete. Agar task se de che organization want to transform manual system into electronic system. No the us chikam the BBA the finance kasano or the IT kasano your group jod shave with a assigned task, such group is known as your task group. Bia de mung sara interest group. By the name it is clear, interest group. You that's a group where the people clear having the common interest, the total interest for example yaude, is it? So those working together to attain a specific objective with which each is concerned. Like for example suppose organization के हर यो कस चेते job कई सही हुआ, लेकिन organization वही चे for example मुंग यो social responsibility create कवल वाड़ू, या for example organization वही चे मुंग charity conduct कवल वाड़ू. We want to let's suppose want to accumulate charity clear for the let's suppose children. An organization वही चे मुंग यो social activity कवल वाड़ू, मुंग charity चिकम दे आगा donation चिकम दे आगा collect कवल वाड़ू. अब ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चे दे 10 कसानो यो ग्रुप जोड़ की चे आगा यतीम खलको दे पारा या मशुमानानो दे पारा या चैरिटी दे पारा पैसे जमा की. इज इट? अब दा कम ग्रुप दे के वो आगा कसान इंटर कीगी चे विच हैविंग क्लियर द सेम इंटरेस्ट. मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल दमा इंटरेस्ट हम दा दे चे वाकी डोनेशन उशी पैसा कलेक्ट शी यो बल मिस्टर ए दे आगे हम दा इंटेंशन जी सही शुरू द्रेम कस्ते आगे हम दा इंटेंशन जी सही शुरू नो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दा से कसान यो बल सरा कलेक्ट करल यो ग्रुप जोड़ को विच हैविंग क्लियर हु हैविंग द सेम इंटरेस्ट. इज इट? सो सच ग्रुप इज नोन एज योर इंटरेस्ट ग्रुप. अंडर द इनफॉर्मल ग्रुप के मुंग सरा दे फ्रेंडशिप ग्रुप जिसंग मास्टर सो वे दोज ब्रॉट टुगेदर बिकॉज दे शेयर वन और मोर कॉमन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. मतलब just because of the friendship, just because of the common traits. मतलब for example संगे चिमास सास्तु है चिमास रले अब्दुल्ला से दे दा जमा डीन ने सही हुआ, लेकिन for example अब कॉफी दे पारा या जिम दे पारा सही हुआ मुंग सरा चिकम दे चू या बाजार दे पारा for example जमुंग फ्रेंडशिप दे और बाजार तमुंग चू we want to buy some stuff. अब दा चिकम जमुंग फ्रेंडशिप दे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चिकम दा ग्रुप जोड़ कर दे बेसिकली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने जोड़ी दैट इज इनफॉर्मल इन नेचर. इज इट? दिस इज द टाइप ऑफ इनफॉर्मल. नो दा चिकम ग्रुप दे चिकम पर फ्रेंडशिप बेस माने शवे दे दैट इज सिंपली नोन एज योर फ्रेंडशिप ग्रुप. दैट बेसिकली इनफॉर्मल दे. होप इंशाल्लाह a bit idea will be clear. Now gura the question is that why people join groups. اخر خلق individual چې کوم دی صحیح شولا دا ولې ګروپ جوائن کول غواړي so many reasons یو خدا دا چې just because of the security reason might be for the status reason might be for the self esteem affiliation power and goal achievement یو دوه explain کما چې تاسو idea clear شي ګوره ډیر خلک چې دی صحیح شولا they want to secure their self therefore they join the groups like for example the union اتحادی کارکنان چې ورته وایو صحیح شو ګوره ډېر organizations کې ډېر employee داسې دي they join clear the unions अब unions څه دي unions basically protect the rights of the individuals clear by the top management نو ځکه چې to secure their self to secure their right mostly organizations individuals چې کوم دي they join let's suppose for the security purpose بیا ډېر خلک چې کوم دي هغه status او self esteem لپاره group join کوي अब what does it mean status mean मतलब دا دی چې ډېر خلک individual داسې دي چې they join the group just because of the status purpose status mean that they will have clear a recognition in the organization ډېر status موږ for example ډېر groups داسې چې they have a for example pronoun people نو pronoun people سره صرف ناستا پاستا او ښه reputation لپاره they join the groups ډېر داسې دي چې self esteem self respect لپاره they join the status groups sometimes most individual they join for the affiliation purpose purpose मतलब دا د recognition bonding links چې زما social network چې کوم ځای هغه سیوا شي لکه ګوره کله موږ څه کله موږ social media group join کو अब social media group صرف ډېر خلک دې لپاره join کوي چې هغه links سیوا شي هغه social network چې کوم دی یاران دوستان چې کوم دی hello hi چې کوم دی هغه زیات دي just because of affiliation sometimes they join clear the political let's suppose affiliation मतलब political power दे पारा join कई and sometime for the goal achievement दे पारा मतलब goal achievement in sense कि most of the people सही या दा से मुझ तरह group समझतारी जिसके कम पर theory why माने believe कई no सही अगोई main attainment से every time we have to achieve our target no dear organizations के खलक दा थी when they want to do something clear for their self promotion दे पारा परमस्तक दे पारा या self let's suppose advancement दे पारा so then they join clear the groups no zaka da which their individuals they join the group just because of the security purpose just because of the status self esteem affiliation power and goal achievement आसान कोई concept है ऐसा difficult concept नहीं simple चीज़ों नहीं और this slide basically tell us how we have to make the group or how the group can be developed so group जो develop कीगी सही it has multiple stages अवलेने चिकम stage थे that is known as your forming stage अब forming stage से वही this is the first stage in group development चिकला हम group develop कीगी that is the initial stage which is characterized by much uncertainty उसको दा अगर stage थे for example चिकम के मुंग दा वाई ना कहूँ we want to make a group मुंग यो group जुड़ावल वाड़ो अब that is abstract in nature full of uncertainty, lack of planning. This is just an initial idea. Among what you can a rough idea, the raw idea. सही हुआ लेकिन जब हम जैसे यो ग्रुप जुड़ावल वाड़ा मा नज़े यो ग्रुप सब बारे की जुड़ावल वाड़ा मा आगे आसास बसी what is the base why I want to form where I to form सही हुआ to whom let's suppose I have to include in my group and what about the objective of my this group अब that is what that is totally uncertain no da aga initial rough idea da che comes we want to decide we want to just tell that we want to form a group no da che come initial rough idea da raw idea da awlane stage de which is known as your forming stage bya che kala forming stage ushi is it your rough hone idea create shi ro hone the people move to the next stage and that is storming stage that is the storming stage A storming stage is the second stage in group development, where it is characterized by the intra-group conflict. Intra-group, not inter-group, intra-group. मतलब चिकला for example your rough idea creates वाला and I discuss this idea with the people. अब now within the people, people will have the contradicts, people will have the conflict. Like for example, they want to the group जुड़ावल वाड़ा मा. Is it suppose general example? No ma sara told zama friends nasti zama peers nasti zama colleagues nasti for example sexual no they chede da ma mane contrast question kai chwale to group judawal wade what is the reason da group ko khashe na de da group bata de para tension uchi dir khalak ba positive wai sexual chede group ki bata add kawal wade they group objective but see is it? It means that there will be an conflict clear, a contradict clear among the individual, between the individuals, critics rasi, and that stage is known as your storming stage. Once the storming stage ushi, so the next stage is the norming stage. By the name it is clear, norming stage. This is the third stage where it is characterized by close relationship and cohesiveness. अब देख सुशी देख relationship, roles, duties, सही शुआ दा assign शी, objective assign शी, सही शुआ हर यो share relationship cohesiveness हम आहंगी चिवरता वायु सही शुआ या दगा चिवरता वायु harmony चिवरता वायु दा explain शी मतलब कम यो कस objective बसी हर यो कस जॉब बसी अगर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बसी सही शुआ अब कम यो कानून कई चाल अब कम रोल मिलावीगी नो दा चिकम stage दे that is known as your norming stage. After norming stage we have the performance stage. उसको performing stage, that is the fourth stage when the group is fully functional. Fully functional मतलब दादे उस group चे कम दे अब खपल कार activity शुरू की. It means simply that group is activated now. Now that stage where the group is fully functional or fully activated or group is doing the working or group is under working condition, that is known as performing stage. ब्या चे कला performance उशी next is adjourning stage. दासे हम की देशी चे group खपल कारून औकड़ल अहदाफुने complete करल सही शुआ temporary group I am talking about. ब्या का चुकी ही ब्या का wind up शी अगर खपल कारून खत्म की सही शुआ वाले चे group कार complete करो बस कार खत्म शो. लका से तास तो मैं चता सो वरा कोर जुड़ा वाल हुआड़ी सही शुआ न अवल रफ आइडिया की कल चे कोर फंक्शन ची इंडिविजुअल कलेक्ट की हर चाहता गोरा लेंटर वाला लेंटर कार की पलिस्तर वाला पलिस्तर कार की सही शुआ अगेना अलावा हर यो कार चकम दे सही शुआ अगो भी कई परफॉर्मेंस स्टेज की भी बे आखिर के चकल कंस्ट्रक्शन उशी न टोल कसान चकम दे दा लाड़शी बस कार खत्म शी सही शुआ पलिस्तरीम लाड़शी लेट्स सपोज और खख्तो वालम लाड़शी हर यो कस खत्म शी दा चकम स्टेज दे च हर यो कार खत्म शी एवरीथिंग इज वाइंड अप दैट इज known as your adjourning stage. By the name it is clear, adjourning mean sexual car khatma wal sexual rapid chivarta wayu wind up simply. So that is the final stage of group development for temporary groups characterized by concern with wrapping up. The wrapping up matlab wind up khatma wal car activities rather than performance. Simply stated, that is the wind up level. Now your group joda walu depara we have the forming stage, the initial stage, then storming stage, is it the intra-group conflict stage, the norming stage, relationship and cohesiveness stage, the performance stage, matlab activation of the group, and the last adjourning stage, matlab wind up level. No, that's it, your group ch mukammal takmil shi. Hope inshallah idea will be clear. Now, us group structure we are talking about. What is simply structuring the group? Your group jurau, what about its structure? Up to no pela we define the roles within a group. Ab group ke roles hota so tolo tapata that what is role? Definition that way, a set of expected behavior patterns attributed to someone occupying a given position in a social unit. मतलब your social unit के your individual था चे कम responsibility कम duty या कम for example set of expectation, let's suppose essential भी, that is simply a role. Like as I have a social unit या I have a let's suppose department BBA के चे माता कम role defined है, that is teaching. अब being as a for example when I am rendering the teaching, is it my role is as a teacher. Is it? अब गोरा टीचर चिकम दे it has a set of expectation behavior. मतलब दे कैसे कारूना दी चामाता मिलाऊ दी. Is it? So now in BBA department my role is as a teacher. अब then is role identity. अब what is role identity? गोरा हर यो चिकम role दे अगर तरह से कारूना से behavior चिकम दे आहा consistent दी. We, for example, for each role we have some expected behaviors or attitudes which are consistent with that role. So that is simply known as your role identity. Mean identify the role. I would like to give an example. Idea clear ki. Suppose us the teacher है, is it? My role is a teacher. For example, I am acting as a teacher in my department, so my role clear defined to me, that is as a teacher. Let's suppose such a teacher yama no zama attitude, zama action, zama behavior, that is definitely relevant to teacher. Let's suppose the teacher na promote shama clear for the higher level authorities. I become a dean. For example, I become a VC. No, us gura zama shift ushwala, zama promotion ushwala teacher na VC ta. No, chakala VC ta zara lama, seshwa zama role change ho. नो जमा च कम एटीट्यूड जी जमा च कम एक्शन जी जमा च कम बिहेवियर जी दा हम फॉर एग्जांपल द के हम चेंज राले नो व्हाटएवर वी हैव द रूल सहीशुला अगर रूल सरा तड़ुल के वी हैव सम डिफरेंट आइडेंटिटीज एज वेल नो आज कम आइडेंटिटी जी कानूनी एटीट्यूड जी बिहेवियर जी हर योर रूल सरा दैट इज नोन एज रोल आइडेंटिटी देन वी हैव रोल परसेप्शन गोरा ऑलरेडी परसेप्शन की माता उसला डिटेल के टीच करे दे रोल परसेप्शन दैट एन इंडिविजुअल्स व्यू an employee views of how he or she is supposed to act in a given situation मतलब माले रोल रा करे द टीचर नो ज़ खबुम दा फिकर सोच कोमा कना च आई बीइंग एज अ टीचर हाउ आई विल एक्ट जब संगा सचुरा यो गुड टीचर साबित की देशम हाई आई बिकेम क्लियर अ गुड टीचर अब दैट इज माय रोल परसेप्शन एम आई अ गुड टीचर कैन आई बी अ गुड टीचर इन फ्यूचर कैसे पास्ट किया है द गुड टीचर वुमन सही सो दैट टोल से दैट टोल role perception see that where being as an individual being as an employee sexual I am weaving that how I will be supposed to act in this situation to become a good teacher. Then we have some role expectations. What a simple statement, role expectations, how my colleagues, how other people in the group they believe sexual that how I will for example act matlab what other people in the group will think that how I will behave. Definitely they have the expectation. गुरा जो टीचरान दी कना अब हम दा सोच कई दमा पीयर्स दी फॉर एग्जांपल काका गांधी दे हम मानस एक्सपेक्टेशन कई कना तजो च मिस्टर अदिल बसंगा दखा कई शो कई is it so that is simply known as the role expectation. If you focus on the definition it will make your idea fully clear that how others believe in a person would act in a given situation मतलब जमा पर बरके नूर खलक से सोच कई फॉर एग्जांपल गोरा जो मोहल्ले के उसे गमा नो जमा च कम गवंडियान दी दा खबम सोच कई कना च मिस्टर अदील बसंगा एक्ट कई दे महल्ला के फॉर एग्जांपल सचुअल दे हैव सम एक्सपेक्टेशन फ्रॉम मी. अब सेम इज द केस वी हैव सम साइकोलॉजिकल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और साइकोलॉजिकल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दा वही च संग नूर खलक जमा पर बरके से एक्सपेक्टेशन लरी सेम जमा मैनेजमेंट हम जमा पर बरके एक्सपेक्टेशन लरी. For example, management has clear given me a role as a teacher, so management expect clear some positive, let's suppose a belief clear that I have to, for example, they having some positive expectations from me. No, that way, a psychological contract that is simply an unwritten agreement that set out what management expects from the employee and vice versa. So simply stated that management clear what management expects from the individual. Why? Because management is going, organization is going to pay to the individual. No zache salam rawaste yama mala che dura subject ragadi di sayfa no zama definitely zama teaching na zama behavior na zama actions na sakhaba management mana dakhal lari kana is it tama lari expectation khoba lari. And then we have some role conflict. Ab what is role conflict? By the name it is clear role conflict. I mean conflict clear within a role. Sometime gura ab zakur ki chide sayfa as a brother yama यूरोर यमा कोर की चीज़ें दयो खावन यमा आई एम हस्बैंड एज वेल लेकिन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की चीज़ें सही दयो टीचर में यमा. अब फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन आई बिकम डिस्टर्ब्ड एट होम डेफिनेटली आई विल बी डिस्टर्ब्ड इन माय जॉब एज वेल. और सम टाइम व्हेन आई बिकम लेट्स सपोज डिस्टर्ब्ड क्लियर एट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सो डेफिनेटली सही जे चीज़ें पकोर मने बम डिस्टर्ब होमा. इट मीन्स माय रोल्स क्लियर देयर इज अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इन द रोल. Is it? So a situation in which an individual is confronted mean faced by divergent role expectation. Well, इसे हर योकस चले सचवर अहा मानस expectation लरी मतलब जमा वाइफ मानस expectation लरी जमा स्टूडेंटान जमानस expectation लरी सचवर जमा मोर प्लार जमानस expectation लरी सचवर जमा मैनेजमेंट मानस expectation लरी. अब that is very much difficult for the individual सचवर चाहा fulfill की all the expectation. That is very much impossible. No, there is a role conflict as well. So a situation in which an individual is confronted, faced by variant role expectation or divergent role expectation. Or bal role ke khanoma. Like for example, I become a good husband, but might be I become not a good teacher. I become a good teacher, but for example, I'm not a good husband as well. Matlab your role ke khayma, your role ke khanema. There is a contradiction. No, they simply that is a role conflict. No group की कला कला रोल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हम की देशी यो रोल के यो इंडिविजुअल खई और बल रोल के चदे खन्नई. होप इंशाल्लाह आइडिया विल बी क्लियर. नाउ अंडर द ग्रुप स्ट्रक्चर द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज नॉर्म्स. गोरा नॉर्म्स ऑलरेडी बिजनेस एथिक्स की माता तुला टीच करी दी ची नॉर्म्स सदी नॉर्म्स आर एक्सेप्टेबल बिहेवियर्स. Is it? These are simply the rituals, the rules the disciplines, is it the principles. Now how you group the para chede the principles defined shawiri, and these principles are simply known as the norms. So acceptable standards of behavior within a group that are shared by the group members. Data simply bunga way norm. How you group chede against a norms. Like suppose I have a sale group. Zama yo sale group de, salesman group de. Agoi car se de, agoi selling kai. अब هو دې پر ما نوم ټاکل دی چې تاسو به هر یو پروډکټ باندې مطلب چې کله هم خرڅوي تاسو به دروغ نه وایي. Whatever the positive attribute the product possesses, you must have to tell to the customers. If your product possesses any of the negative, let's suppose attribute or trait, you must have to convey these negative traits to the customer. Ab that is a norm. Ab जो group के छोरा हम कसान दी, they must have to follow this sexual norm. Ab that is simply good. That your principle दे, that your उसूल दे, sexual, and these are simply known as the acceptable standards of behavior. Are different types of norms. We have the performance norms, we have the appearance norms, we have the social arrangement norms, and we also have the allocation of resource norms. So different norms की देशी, performance oriented हम की देशी, appearance oriented हम की देशी, social agreement norm हम की देशी. Then under group structure के, under the norms के, we have conformity. अब what is conformity? Conformity simply that we adjusting one's behavior to align with the norms of the group. मतलब यो individual अगर मुंगा दास यो framework की enter को चे अगर छोरा हम let's suppose rules and regulations simply follow की, और सचुला या adjusting that we are flexing the one's behavior actions that should be according to the norms of the group. मतलब यो कस्ते group के कार कहीं, is it? अब we have to train that person that अगर जो छोरा हम action the behavior दे सचुला अगर चो की अगर group let's suppose norms पर मुताबिक या simply stated सादा अल्फाज के हर यू individual बाइट जगह actions behaviors group norm पर मुताबिक की सचुला आगे न जुदा नहीं का if norms पर मुताबिक की लगा जो वाया मकना चक्कम यो let's suppose जमा class के जो student दी they must have to follow my principles. अब चिकला टूल स्टूडेंटान जमा प्रिंसिपल्स फॉलो कई जमा उसूल फॉलो कई इट मीन दैट दे हैव अ कन्फर्मिटी सहीवा वाले चाह कन्फर्मिटी थी सहीवा दे आर एक्टिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू माय नॉर्म्स जिसकम जमा क्लास के देखी देशी अससेप क्लास के सोबल सो नॉर्म्स ही लका गोरा अससेप क्लास के फॉर एग्जांपल दा यो नॉर्म दे चिता सो खाना पीना इजी कवले शी लेकिन तारिक से जमा क्लास के दा नॉर्म दे सहीवा चे नो ईटिंग नथिंग. अब सहीवा तासो जमा पर मुताबिक जमा क्लास के एक्ट कोई इट मीन दैट यू हैव अ कन्फर्मिटी. लेकिन कला कला सहीवा दास नकीगी दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. मतलब सम टाइम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के खलक इंडिविजुअल ग्रुप्स सहीवा दा चे दे रूल्स रेगुलेशन न फॉलो कई सहीवा अगेना इनहेराफ कई नो चिकला इनहेराफ कई व्हेन दे आर नॉट क्लियर एक्टिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू द नॉर्म्स ऑफ द ग्रुप और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नो दे तमुगा वयू देन डेविएंट वर्कप्लेस बिहेवियर and antisocial actions by organizational members that intentionally violate established norms. मतलब this is an anti-activity. That's the anti-activity which is against clear the norms of the group, the organization, okay, so the member of the organization, the group members, and result in negative consequences for the organization. Organization de para hum bad de, or members de para hum bad de. So such anti-activity or actions clear of individual where they violate the norms of a group, the norms of the organization, which damage the individual organization as well. Such behavior of the individual people is known as deviant workplace. नॉर्म सादा अल्फाज के रूल्स रेगुलेशंस न फॉलो कवल और न फॉलो कवल दे तरह ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ता नुकसान दे इंडिविजुअल ता नुकसान दे नो दा द इंडिविजुअल द खल्क दा बिहेवियर दैट इज नोन एज योर डेविएंट वर्कप्लेस बिहेवियर. अब अंडर द ग्रुप स्ट्रक्चर के द नेक्स्ट इज स्टेटस. अब व्हाट इज स्टेटस? गोरा स्टेटस कॉमन होने खबर है अ सोशली डिफाइंड पोजीशन और अ रैंक. अब द रैंक च कम दे it can be from the organization point of view, like for example the tastawema HR manager sayfula CEO MD that all ranks see assigned by the management to an individual. There we have a socially defined position. Or what is socially defined position? Socially defined position that is for example जो individual दे your group दे sayfula अगर socially defined शवे दे, like for example जमा your group दे corporate social responsibility जो हम चंदा कस कम दे दबो चंदा कलेक्ट कई डोनेशन पे कलेक्ट कई अब गोरा की तरफ डेजिग्नेशन ना मिलाओ, लेकिन सोशली द पर्सन इज डिफाइंड दैट पर्सन विल कलेक्ट लेट सपोज क्लियर द डोनेशंस फॉर द charitable purpose. अब गोरा दा चिकम रैंक वर्ता मिलाओ दे, दा चिकम पोजीशन वर्ता मिलाओ दे, that is simply known as socially defined. Now status can be a socially defined position or it can be a rank given to the group or individual by the organization. उस तक group member status चिकम दे या status चिकम दे, it depends upon on the group norms, on the status equity or the culture of the organization. Hope inshallah idea will be clear. Then under the group structure we have the size. अब गोरा I would like to give an example that बता सो idea clear की. गोरा which personally individual as an alone च कमकार कोमा when personally sexually as an individually when I am performing an activity I clear definitely I will be more active, I will work hard. लेकिन कल च खलक ग्रुप के खलक कार शुरू की सही हुआ नो द गोरी चेहरा कसान ढेर ज्यादा नो अगोई अखपल एफर्ट च कम दे आगा कम की, मतलब इंडिविजुअली दे पुट मोर एफर्ट बट व्हेन दे कंबाइन कलेक्टिवली वर्क विद इन अ ग्रुप दे पुट क्लियर लेस एफर्ट. इज इट नो उसका साइज ज्यादा साइज कमी, लेकिन दा च कम कॉन्सेप्ट च खलक इंडिविजुअली ज्यादा मेहनत कई च कल ग्रुप तलाशी नो ग्रुप की च खलक गोरी बया मेहनत कम की नो दा च कम कॉन्सेप्ट दैट इज नोन एज सोशल लॉफिंग. देता मुंगा वही social lofting concept. When individual they were working, they were alone, they were working very hard, and when they put into the group now they are putting clear less effort. मतलब सुस्ती काहिली शो की देता मुंगा वही social lofting. नो चिकला social lofting concept राशि नो दे सारा organization या group size चिकम दे आगा effect की वाले जो सूरा कसान सेवा की सही हुआ और social lofting through group activity चिकम दा performance चिकम दा आगा disturb की. So that का वही the tendency for individuals to expend less effort when working collectively as a part of a group compared to performing a task alone. No zakada way sayshula kala group ke sayshwa performance che kam de just because of the size or social lofting aga disturb shi. Hope inshallah idea will be clear. Up under the group structure we have composition. Composition mean development of group. So group के संग develop कीगी. First group demography. Demography simply means like age wise, like gender wise, like race wise, educational level wise, sexual and length of service wise. Simply that is known as the geography. मतलब यो group से जुड़ो यो दे group के किदेशी टोल चकम कसान दी अगा about than 45 years. Another group for example अगे के टोल चकम दे African खलक बपकी कीदू. बल यो दासे मो ग्रुप जोड़ करे सही हुआ अगर सिर्फ और सिर्फ जोग्राफिकल एरिया वाइज चिकम दे लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल अगर के सिर्फ और सिर्फ चिकम दे पाकिस्तानी या अफगानी या पश्तो स्पीकिंग कल्चर दे खलक भी. अब इट मीन्स दैट ग्रुप सही वाला अगर कंपोजिशन पर सब बेस माने की देशी अगर कंपोजिशन इट कैन बी ऑन द डेमोग्राफी बेस एज वेल. सेकंड द कोहॉर्ट क्वालिटी की देशी कोहॉर्ट क्वालिटी सिंपली मीन्स दैट इंडिविजुअल who as a part of group hold a common attribute. मतलब यो दासी ग्रुप चाहे कि थोड़ा हम खलक दी अगोई सेम कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स लरी. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल सपोज उस योमा ग्रुप जोड़ कर सेल्स दे पारा अब सेल्स दे पारा सोरा हम च कसान दी अगो टोलो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स सेम दी. इट मीन दे हैव द सेम सेल एक्सपीरियंस, they have the same MBA degree in sales, they have the BBA degree in sales, is it? They are totally trained in sales. And it means अगोई हर यो कस च कम दे सही वाला equal दखल लरी क्वालिटी या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक लरी. They are coherent in nature. सही हुआ. देना अलावा cohesiveness simply mean group harmony, group relationship. मतलब how close the member of a group clear with one another. नो द member च कम दे दा यो बल सरंगी निजर आत लेशी सही वाला दे harmony हम आहंगी सरंगी क्रिएट की देशी. So the degree to which group members are attracted to each other and are motivated to stay within the group. सही हुआ देता मुंगा simply वही cohesiveness harmony. अब how group members can be attractive संग तासो अट्रैक्ट कवलेशी आसान होने स्टेप में तासो तरीके ली इट विल मेक योर आइडिया क्लियर. नंबर 1 मेक द ग्रुप स्मॉलर. कोशिश हो कई ग्रुप और कोटे जोड़ कई विच यू कैन इजीली हैंडल. इनकरेज एग्रीमेंट विद ग्रुप गोल्स. हर यो ग्रुप गोल डिफाइन कई सही हुआ. इंक्रीज टाइम मेंबर्स स्पेंड टुगेदर. इंक्रीज ग्रुप स्टेटस एंड एडमिशन डिफिकल्टी. गोरा ग्रुप स्टेटस चिकम दे आगा मतलब नॉर्म्स चिकम दे आगा हाई उसाते स्टेटस चिकम दे हाई उसाते ताकि नूर कसान चिकम दे आगा इजीली सासो ग्रुप के इंटरफेरेंस या एडमिशन नशी कोला वही दोबारा ग्रा नहीं. स्टिमुलेट कंपटीशन विद अदर ग्रुप्स. गिव रिवार्ड्स टू द ग्रुप नॉट इंडिविजुअल्स. मतलब چې کله هم ریوارډ ورکوي don't focus on the individual performance, give reward clear always on the group base. And then physical isolate the group. Physically isolate the group मतलब دا دی چې دا group چې کوم دی څه نور groups نه جدا ساتي. Is it just because of the recognition, صرف recognition के लिए. उसको را next day task oriented. group چې کم task کوي common غونې خبره ده چې کم group جوړیږي هغه اولنې task چې دی that is decision making دی. अब decision making के we have two types of for example groups. यो large group थे यो small group थे. अब large groups clear हमेशा facilitate the pooling of information about complex tasks. Whatever we have the complex jobs, large چې کم دغه د group ته अब हमेशा pool of information collect کوي. While smaller group چې کوم دی سشوا ورکوټه group چې کوم دی are better suited to coordinating and facilitating the implementation of complex tasks. Simply stated دا وایي چې ګوره هر یو group چې کوم دی سشوا هغه یو task هم کوي یو کار هم کوي او main important کار یې څه دی main important کار یې decision making دی. اوس decision making کې it has some positive points and it has some negative points as well. Positive points څه دي چې more complete information. is it کوشش کوي همیشه group چې هغه full information achieve کی. increase diversity of views. ولې چې for example diversity of views مطلب دا ده چې many of the ideas will be definitely generated by the group. بیا quality دا ده چې higher quality of decisions مطلب more accuracy پکې راشي. and increase acceptance of solution. او کوشش کوي چې زیات نه زیات alternative وي تاکي best solution accept شي. अब دا خو یې positive points دي. but on the other hand we have some negative points as well. negative points کې دي چې more time consuming. ولې چې group information collect کوي صحیح process کوي کسان زیاتی نو definitely it will take a time to take a decision. no more time consuming دی slower process slow شي. بیا چې کوم دی increased pressure to confirm. increased pressure to confirm simply mean pressurize دی صحیح what to do and what not to do. بیا وای dominated by one clear or a few members. اکثر group کې به تاسو لیدلی چې کوم چې senior کسانی صحیح they are very much dominant. هغه ها او نه چې کوم دی صحیح هغه باندې فیصله کیږي. And the last is ambiguous responsibility. Ambiguous responsibility group کې یو قسم چې د responsibility اخستل نه غواړي. So because they are working as a team, they are working in a group. نو څه مطلب decision making کې when as a group decision making کې so positive points هم کې دي شي and sometimes clear they also have the negative points as well. अब under group decision making کې the groups will definitely the group thinking هم کوي and the group thinking مطلب د سوچ بچار کوي. is it or kala che the group for example thinking ushi so then their thinking will for example move to the shift of shift matlab che whatever gura let's suppose if I am saying within a group actually we want to make a decision ab we have 3 to 4 alternatives ab mung lage evaluation ko che kam your alternative will be best ab that is known as group thinking. Ab now let's say the group thinking che come there definitely it will move here to a final decision and the final decision the final pick of the alternative will be known as group shift. मतलब کې دې group shift چې کوم دی for example هغه risk چې کوم دی هغه minimize کی صحیح شو او opportunity چې کوم دی هغه maximize کی. so ځکه دا وایي چې phenomena a process in which the norm of consensus overrides the realistic appraisal of alternative courses of action, while group shift की वही a change in decision risk between the group's decisions and the individual decisions that member within the group would make can be either toward conservatism or greater risk. چې څنګه ما تاسو خبر وکړه صحیح شو چې کې دې شي risk minimize کی صحیح شو opportunity کوم څه صحیح شو هغه maximize کی. अब we have some group decision making technique چې آیا کله چې group decisions آلی نو هغه decisions څنګه آلی. یو خو very common دی interacting groups. interacting groups مطلب دا دی چې ټول groups اکټه راشي face to face discussion کوي صحیح شو and then they take the decision simply. Typically groups in which the members interact with each other face to face. بیا دی we have nominal group technique. یاد ساتئ nominal group technique صحیح شو that is a part of your brainstorming technique. अब nominal group technique किसे कही nominal group technique के group हो राशि is it clear मतलब group हो राशि सही हुआ लेकिन group की चीज़ों हम कसान दी individually सही हुआ they are acting. अब individually हर यो कस्ता individual for example manager या moderator वही so whatever the idea you have सही हुआ खपला idea उली कई Flipkart माने और दा Flipkart चकम दे one by one चकम दे तासो participation को वही simple stated. और देखिए mostly critics चकम दे आगा involve नहीं وبیا ماډریټر چې کوم دی صحیح شو هغه وایي چې کومه لیټ سپوز آیډیا ګډ ده تاسو پرایورټایز کوي مطلب هغه له تاسو ویلیو ورکوي مارک ورکوي سمپلی سټیټډ نو ګوره دا وایي چې NGT نومینل ګروپ ټیکنیک ګیدر انفارمیشن بای آسکینګ انډیویجولز ټو ریسپونډ ټو کوېسچنز posed by a moderator چې څنګه ما تاسو ته وویل and then asking participants to prioritize صحیح شو give value worth the ideas or suggestions of all group members صحیح شو او بیا چې دی we have the brainstorming as ما تاسو ته وویل چې NGT چې کوم دی that is a part of brainstorming او brainstorming څه دی brainstorming idea generation یا creativity او technique ته decision making technique ته problem solving technique ته چې کوم کې ټول کسان فور ایگزامپل ټول ګروپس ټول ممبرز کینی and then step by step سره د خپل الټرنیټیو ورکی ټو سولو ا ایشو ټو سولو ا پرابلم لیکن دغه چې سوره هم کریټکس دی په کریټکس باندې هم ډسکشنز کیږي اب ګوره an idea generation process or creativity technique by which of efforts are made to find a conclusion for a specific problem by gathering a list of ideas spontaneously contributed by its members अब specifically encourages any and all alternative چې څوره هم دی کې ډسکشن دی آیا ماینر ډسکشن دی آیا فور ایگزامپل میجر الټرنیټیو دی په ټول باندې فور ایگزامپل هایلایټ کیږي while withholding any criticism of these alternatives صحیح شو and then we have electronic meeting internet through باندې صحیح شو computer based discussion simply a meeting in which members interact on computers allowing for any anonymity of comments and aggregation of simply votes net based money electronic computer based money چې کوم discussion کیږي that is simply known as electronic meeting هغه باندې بیا voting کیږي hope inshallah idea will be clear to you thank you so much